Good morning or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. Today we're gonna do some of these flowers. Actually, the original video that I reference is Ashu Art and Craft, and I'll post a link for that video in the description. But there are a few important differences from that video. I think that video is using origami paper or a thinner paper, and we're gonna be using kind of a thicker paper that we got at the store, like a colored copy paper. Looks something like this. Really, you start with a 4x4, so 4" by 4" square paper. But I've come to realize that really any square paper will do. So if you could cut your paper into 4 squares, that's how you're going to begin this assignment. Now, the reason that my video is a little bit different than that one is because this paper is a little bit thicker, so you just got to treat it a little bit different. There's some subtle differences when it comes to that. I do think that these are beautiful, and I think it's easy enough that we can take care of this in one session. What you want to do with your paper is you want to start folding them corner to corner, and you're going to do that 3 times. And you're going to do that with all of them, okay? And one more time. Once that's done, you want to hold this way. When you hold it like this from this corner, so it's opening up this way, right? You're going to draw a half circle starting from here. And that half circle, I like to actually put my thumb here to kind of guide me. It goes up and over. Once you get confident enough, you might not even need this half circle. And I like to keep it nice and round if possible, right? After that, you're going to get a pair of scissors and you're going to cut right there. That is going to produce something like this. You're going to do that with all of them. Once you do that with all of them, you're going to have 4 of these. You'll notice that these are not the exact same, and that's okay. They don't need to be exactly the same. Now, grab one of them, and you're going to cut out 1 petal. Make sure you hold on to both of these pieces because you're going to need them. You're going to put one in one area and the other in the other. Move the flowers out of the way. So this side over here and this side over here. Grab another one, and now you're going to cut out 2 petals. Keep the 2 petals over here, this one over here. The next one, you guessed it, you're going to cut out 3 petals. Three over here. And then this next one's going to be 4, which means that you just cut it right in half. Now, this is just an extra piece. In that original video that I referenced, they use that piece, but since this one, this paper is a little bit thicker, I find that piece just is a bit troublesome and it just gets in the way. So you have your pieces like this, just to show you pieces that you're going to need. Like that. Perfect. Now for this next step, you can use hot glue or you can use Elmer's glue. Any glue that will get the job done works. In our case, we're going to use hot glue because it's what I have available in class. You just have to be careful not to burn yourselves. Okay, and if you're trying this, make sure that your parents are helping you if you don't know how to operate a hot glue gun so you don't burn yourself. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece and glue it over like that, right? So just going to put a little bit of hot glue, and we have to act quickly. Bring that over, and we're going to put it. Another benefit of using hot glue is that it's going to dry very quickly, and it'll allow us to complete the process much faster. For this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a bit of hot glue here. You want to get it kind of around, because if you get it just to one side, then this is going to stick up. I think it'll still work if that happens, but just try to make sure you get enough that it covers the area. And it doesn't have to be perfectly overlapping it, but if you can get it, as close as you can get it. Same thing here. When you're using hot glue and that little string remains, if you just spin it, it'll go around this area and it'll burn that little string. And do the same thing here. If you wait too long, then it'll just stiffen up. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to use it, but it may be a little bit problematic for you later. Now you see that this one isn't perfect on the bottom. That's not gonna have too much of an effect on the final look here. Now, for this one, I think it's time to start not putting it all the way, you see? So for this one, I'm gonna put it right up to here, and for that, I'm just gonna hold it in my hands. I'm gonna open up a little spot like that. I'm gonna put a little bit of hot glue. Now, this hot glue that I'm using is a low temp hot glue, so I can do this pretty comfortably. And yes, it's warm, but it's not gonna burn me. If you use a high temp hot glue gun, do not do it like that. At least get an extra sheet of little paper in here, maybe squeeze it, but I don't recommend using a high temp hot glue gun for this project. Only low temp hot glue. Same thing with this one, which is the 2-1. We're going to leave a little piece like that, right? We don't want to squeeze the whole thing together. And we're going to put a little bit of hot glue. And now we're going to bring that over and we're going to squeeze it like that. And yes, it's warm, but it should not burn you if it's low temp. If you don't know if your glue is high or low temp, you need to look at the bag that you bought it with, or look at the instructions of your hot glue gun, and it'll tell you if it's high or low temp. For this next part, we're gonna have to start curving the paper. There's a couple of ways that you can do that. One quick way that comes to mind is just using a toothpick. You can use a pencil, you can use a pen, you can use a brush, any round object that will let you just turn it. And the next couple of steps really require a lot of that type of thing. So you're going to turn it so it's nice and curvy, right? I'm going to make mine a little bit tighter. So I'm going to use something a little bit thinner to turn it, this is a straightened out paper clip. And if I have some paper clips in the class, you're more than welcome to straighten them out and use that if you think it'll be helpful. And that's just going to give me like a tighter curve, which I really like. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of hot glue here. And we're going to put this one into this one, and we're going to glue it to the side of the wall. So it looks like that. It's nice. All right, with that same idea in mind, we're going to start curving these guys. So all of the petals you want to curve. And don't curve it too aggressively. It should only be a soft curve. And like I said, for that, you can use straightened paper clip, you can use a toothpick, you can use a pencil, you can use a pen. You might even be able to just curve it yourself with your fingers, though it may be a little bit more cumbersome and difficult, but you can even just curve it right on your own finger. Whatever tool you have at your disposal, try to make that happen. Now here's another way that this one differs from the reference video that I used. This paper, since it's a little bit thicker, it doesn't lie flat as well. And in the reference video, these edges aren't quite as strong. So I like to use both fingers and start squeezing it down like that to create a flat back, making sure that the flower is going to lay flat at the end. So something like that, at least for this part. Again, we're going to start curving these guys. The paper clip is one of the harder ones to use. Let me see. I have this brush. Probably it's going to work a little bit better and faster. We're also going to flatten this one. Flatten the back. This one's going to stick up a little bit more than the other one. And it's going to sit inside like this. You can use whatever glue you have. If you're doing this with me in class, we're probably going to use this hot glue. Again, this one is not hot enough to burn you, but it is hot. So adults and teenagers preferred. You're going to find that there isn't a perfect space for every one of these, and that's okay. You just need to start kind of putting it in kind of a spiral, right? That's kind of what we want to do. You're going to find that once you get to here, it's pretty difficult to make this curve, but that's okay. It doesn't need to curve that much. Just curve it as much as you can, and it's going to work out. Now, we're going to flatten this guy as well. We're going to crush the back so it's flat. Crush the back of this guy. Now, both of your fingers probably are not going to fit in there, so you could just use one finger. Bring that down. Reshape it. That's nice. We're also going to crush the back of this one. Something like that. We're not going to crush the back of that one, okay? We're going to put our hot glue. I love how it changes color when the hot glue is applied. Like I said, we're going to try to keep this in a bit of a spiral formation. If that makes any sense. Put our hot glue here. And keep our little spiral formation going. You could try to cover the gaps, but it's not perfect, so it's not going to cover all the gaps. If one of the petals is being disobedient, you could always curve it a little bit more, give it a little squeeze, shape it. It is yours, so you can shape it, work it, rework it if you have to. We're going to put this guy in right there. You see, like, I wish that this would curve a little bit more, so I'm just going to curve it, open it up. All right, now this is also how this video differs from the reference video, because this piece, they kind of put it in here, but if you could see, it's too tall. So what I like to do is, I like to cut it, and I'm going to put hot glue along the sides. And I'm going to then insert that in. And I feel like that has a beautiful effect right there, you see? Makes it feel more like a rose. Like this one needs a little bit more hot glue, and maybe I could flatten it a little bit more so it lays a little bit more flat. Let's see. There we go. And we're going to put that right in there. Bit of extra hot glue got away from me. Okay, and that is pretty much it. If you want to liven it up a little bit, you can. But that's the process. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more. That is the end of what would have been the reference video, but we're going to add this stem and a little leaf, so you have like something that you can give to somebody. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to get a green sheet of paper. It doesn't have to be green. Like if you only have white paper to work with, and just do it with white paper. And the stem could be any color that you want it to be. But just to be clear, this is 3 inches this way. And let me double check. I'll tell you right now. 8.5 inches this way, right? Now, what I like to do here is I like to curl this like this. Sorry, from the corner. I'm going to start curling it up. And that gives you something like that. Now you could just keep it like that. I would like to actually maybe get that pen out. A couple of people have told me, well, you should put a pen in it. And you know what? That's a great idea. So let's just keep that pen right there. Now let's try to squeeze it out a bit. So we're going to do it again, just trying to make sure that we have enough space so the edge of the pen comes out this way. And I think that you just need to get it below this mark right here. And squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. There you go. And we're going to put a little bit of hot glue right here. And we're going to squeeze it. Now that is warm again, but it shouldn't burn you if it's low temp. If it's high temp, that might burn you, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. If we wish to keep this from coming out, you could put a little bit of hot glue inside and then move the pen, and it will likely stick. Now we need to figure out where the end of this pen is, and maybe it's like right around here. We're gonna cut this flat. I think this is the one we just did. You could pick a color, whatever color you want. And use that. Let's just do the one we just did. We're gonna carefully put some hot glue here along the edge. And if we want, let's squeeze some hot glue in there so the pen doesn't move, hopefully. And we're going to put our rose right there. You just need to hold that until it's dry. I did use a lot more hot glue, so it might take a little bit longer. If you don't have a pen, then you don't have to do this with a pen. All right, so my idea to cover up that hot glue is you're gonna get a little piece of green paper. Again, work with whatever colors you have. And we are going to cut this to make it look like some leaves. But first, let's cut a hole in the center. And like a cross. Once you have your cross, then you can cut it like this, like a star. Once you have that, my intention is to bring that down, and that is going to go all the way down, and that's going to help cover up that bit of hot glue, and it's also going to give you like that piece of the rose that is held together by that little green part at the bottom. A little bit of hot glue there. A little bit of hot glue there. We're going to glue it right to the rose. You got to hold it for a little tiny bit because if not, it won't hold. Bit of hot glue there. And lastly, a little bit of hot glue here. You have something like that. That's nice. Okay. Lastly, we're going to take a green sheet of paper, and we are going to, cut it to a reasonable size. Fold that guy in half, and then you're going to cut a leaf shape. You can get creative with your leaf shape if you want. It's up to you. And this is going to be your little leaf. Now the easiest way to do this is just to glue it right on. It depends on how you curve your paper, but sometimes you could slide it in. But I'm gonna actually just put a little bit of hot glue right here in this spot, and I'm gonna glue it right onto there. And there you have it, your rose with your stem. And it just so happens that this one can also hold a little rose pen. This lesson is also really good for combining colors, and here you can see I've done a few. I think it's a really awesome result, and I encourage you to combine as many colors as creative as you possibly can. It is important to kind of think of the combinations. So this one was one white, pink, right? This one is kind of mix and match. So these three were done together. And we had a mix and match sort of things, but it's a lovely result. And I look forward to seeing what you guys end up doing. I'll see you in class. Bye.